Dopamine, the brain code that billionaires hide from you. The neurological secret behind unbreakable focus. The silent killer of your dreams. There's a hidden assassin inside your brain right now, murdering your potential while you scroll through this video. It doesn't use bullets or blades, it uses something far more dangerous. Hijack dopamine pathways. While you've been told that discipline is about willpower, the real truth is buried in Stanford's neuroscience labs. Your brain is being weaponized against you by the same chemical that should be your greatest ally. Every notification, every swipe, every instant reward is rewiring your neural circuits to crave mediocrity. Benjamin Franklin understood this 250 years before modern science caught up. Franklin deliberately structured his days around what neuroscientists now call delayed gratification protocols. He would wake at a.m., spend hours in deep work before allowing himself any pleasure, and tracked his progress obsessively in his famous virtue charts. Franklin wasn't just building good habits, he was hacking his dopamine system. He discovered that by delaying rewards, he could amplify their neurological impact exponentially. When he finally allowed himself leisure after hours of productive work, his brain flooded with satisfaction that made the effort addictive. Here's what the tech giants know that you don't. Dopamine isn't released when you get the reward, it's released when you anticipate it. Those app notifications aren't giving you pleasure. They're training your brain to expect instant gratification. Every ping conditions your neural pathways to reject long-term rewards in favor of immediate hits. The result? Your capacity for deep work, the skill that built every fortune, every breakthrough, every legacy, is being systematically destroyed. Studies show the average knowledge worker checks their phone 144 times per day. That's 144 dopamine hijacks interrupting the neural states required for genius-level performance. But here's the game changer. You can reverse this damage completely. Franklin's protocol works because it exploits dopamine's core mechanism, prediction error. When you expect instant rewards but delay them, your brain compensates by releasing massive amounts of dopamine when you finally engage in the meaningful work. Franklin called this his moral algebra. For every hour of instant gratification he denied himself, he earned exponentially more satisfaction from productive activities. He was literally rewiring his brain to find deep work more addictive than entertainment. Your first assignment as a performance archaeologist: implement Franklin's dopamine stacking technique. Before starting any important task, deliberately expose yourself to minor discomfort: cold water on your face, an uncomfortable sitting position, or complete silence. This creates a baseline that makes focused work feel like a reward rather than a burden. Track this for 7 days. Document how your craving for distraction changes when you control the anticipation reward cycle. You're not just building discipline, you're reprogramming the neurochemical foundations of motivation itself. If you're ready to discover how history's greatest achievers hacked their brain chemistry, drop Franklin in the comments and smash that notification bell. The neuroscience revolution that will transform your life is just getting started. The underground laboratory of mental giants. While you struggle with focus, there's a secret society of mental giants who discovered how to transform their brains into precision instruments of achievement. They weren't born different, they just cracked the code that schools never teach. Deep in the archives of scientific history lies Marie Curie's laboratory notebooks, still radioactive today, containing the blueprint for what neuroscientists now call high-performance conditioning. Curie didn't just win Nobel Prizes in 2 different sciences, she rewired her brain to find extreme difficulty irresistibly attractive. Curie's method was based on what modern neuroscience terms dopamine fasting, but with a deadly twist. Between her intensive research sessions, she deliberately deprived herself of all pleasurable stimuli. No entertainment, no social interactions, no comfortable environments. She was literally starving her brain of dopamine. Why did this work? Because dopamine operates on contrast, not absolute levels. When Curie returned to her radioactive laboratory after hours of sensory deprivation, her brain was so hungry for stimulation that even the most challenging scientific problems became neurologically rewarding. She had transformed difficulty into her drug of choice. Here's the breakthrough insight that changed everything. Curie discovered that physical discomfort enhances mental resilience through cross-domain adaptation. Working with materials that literally burned her skin trained her brain to persist through intellectual frustration. Pain became her pathway to genius. The Curie protocol operates in 3 phases. Phase 1. Neural starvation, systematic elimination of easy dopamine sources for 2–3 hours before important work. No music, snacks, social media, or comfortable seating. Your brain enters a state of neurochemical hunger. Phase 2. Productive saturation, complete immersion in your most challenging task, while your dopamine-starved brain desperately seeks satisfaction. The difficulty that normally creates resistance now provides the stimulation your brain craves. Work becomes addictive rather than effortful. Phase 3. Systematic reset, controlled return to baseline through specific recovery protocols. Curie would take precise walks, eat simple meals, and engage in minimal social interaction. This prevented tolerance buildup while maintaining the enhanced sensitivity to productive activities. But Curie added one more element that modern science is just beginning to understand. She used physical environmental cues to trigger focus states. The smell of her laboratory, the texture of her equipment, even the sound of her footsteps became neurological triggers that instantly activated deep concentration. You can build your own Curie chamber without radioactive materials. Designate a specific workspace that you only use after dopamine fasting periods. Use unique scents, lighting, or sounds that your brain will associate with hyperfocus states. Environmental conditioning is neuroscience, not superstition. Start with 90-minute Curie cycles. Fast from pleasure for 2 hours, then engage in your most important work in your conditioned environment. Track not just productivity, but how the work feels. You're training your brain to crave challenge rather than comfort. If the methodology of the most disciplined scientist in history resonates with you, comment Curie and share this video with someone who needs this transformation. Let's build a community of modern mental alchemists. The secret factory of unstoppable minds. There's a hidden factory where the world's most unstoppable minds are forged. And the raw material isn't talent or luck, it's strategically designed failure. The location will shock you. Thomas Edison wasn't just an inventor, he was a neuroscience pioneer who discovered how to weaponize frustration. Edison's Menlo Park laboratory wasn't just creating inventions. It was manufacturing mental resilience through what scientists now call intermittent reinforcement conditioning. Edison's genius lay in understanding that dopamine isn't triggered by success, it's triggered by unpredictable success. He deliberately designed experiments where failure was guaranteed 90% of the time, but when breakthroughs occurred, the neurological payoff was massive. He was literally addicting his brain to problem solving. Here's what made Edison's method revolutionary. He documented every failure with the same enthusiasm as successes. His famous quote about finding 10 ways that won't work wasn't motivational fluff, it was neurological programming. He trained his brain to extract dopamine rewards from failure by reframing setbacks as valuable data. The Edison protocol exploits what neuroscientists call prediction error learning. When your brain expects failure but experiences breakthrough, it releases enormous amounts of dopamine for more than guaranteed successes. Edison was essentially gambling with his own neurotransmitters and always winning. But Edison added a crucial element. He used productive obsession clustering. Instead of working on one invention at a time, he maintained 40–50 active projects simultaneously. When frustration built up on one project, he would switch to another, maintaining constant engagement while preventing burnout. This created what modern science terms cognitive load optimization. Edison's brain was always processing multiple complex problems subconsciously. When conscious attention shifted between projects, his subconscious continued working, often producing breakthrough insights when he returned to earlier challenges. Edison's workspace was designed for creative collision, tools, materials, and half-finished inventions everywhere, creating constant visual and tactile stimulation. Random combinations of elements would trigger new ideas, turning his environment into an extension of his neural network. You can build your own Edison engine in any field. Maintain 3-5 challenging projects simultaneously, spending focused time on each while letting others marinate subconsciously. When you hit frustration on one, immediately switch to another. Your brain will continue processing both while avoiding the dopamine crash that kills motivation. Document failures as enthusiastically as successes. Create a failure portfolio that you review weekly, looking for patterns and insights. You're training your brain to extract value from setbacks, transforming frustration from motivation killer into fuel source. Set up your environment for creative collision: books, tools, materials, and references visible and accessible. Let your workspace become a physical extension of your thought processes, where accidental combinations can trigger breakthrough insights. If you're ready to apply the methodology of America's greatest innovator, drop Edison in the comments and hit that like button. The next revelation will show you how to combine all these protocols into an unbeatable system, the neural empire that rules forever. The time has come to reveal the complete system that separates legends from the forgotten. This isn't just another productivity hack, it's the operating system that transforms ordinary minds into unstoppable forces of nature. Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, discovered what neuroscientists call compound dopamine architecture, the ability to extract increasing satisfaction from delayed gratification over decades. Buffett didn't just build wealth. He built a brain that finds long-term thinking more addictive than instant rewards. Buffett's legendary discipline isn't willpower, it's neurological engineering. He systematically trained his brain to find the process of analysis more rewarding than the outcomes it produced. While others chase quarterly profits, Buffett gets high from thinking in decades. The Buffett system combines all the protocols we've uncovered: Franklin's delayed gratification, Curie's environmental conditioning, and Edison's failure reframing. But Buffett added the ultimate element. He made patience profitable through compound satisfaction loops. Here's how it works. Buffett structures his activities so that longer-term thinking produces immediate neurological rewards. Reading annual reports isn't boring to him, it's detective work that triggers curiosity and anticipation. He's addicted to the hunt, not just the kill. The complete protocol operates in 90-day cycles based on neuroplasticity research. Days 1-30. Neural purification, systematic elimination of instant gratification sources. No entertainment media, social platforms, or easy dopamine hits. Your brain enters controlled starvation mode. Days 31-60. Compound conditioning, introduction of challenging long-term projects with built-in micro-rewards for process adherence. You're not just working toward distant goals. You're celebrating every day of sustained effort. Small wins compound into neurological momentum. Days 61-9. Mastery integration, application of developed patience and focus skills to increasingly complex challenges. Your reconditioned brain now finds difficulty attractive and delayed rewards more satisfying than instant gratification. Buffett's secret weapon is what he calls circle of competence documentation, obsessive tracking of knowledge accumulation and decision-making improvement over time. He doesn't just invest money, he invests attention and tracks the compound returns on mental capital. The final element is legacy loop programming, connecting daily actions to multi-decade outcomes. Buffett thinks about how today's decisions will impact not just his portfolio, but his reputation and influence decades in the future. This extended timeline creates meaning that sustains motivation through any temporary setback. Your implementation begins today. Choose one area where you want to build legendary level performance. Apply the complete 90-day protocol, documenting not just external results, but internal changes in motivation, focus, and satisfaction levels. Remember, you're not just developing skills, you're rebuilding the neurological foundation that will determine the next 30 years of your life. This is the difference between temporary success and permanent transformation. If you recognize that it's time to operate at a completely different neurological level, comment Buffett and share this with someone ready for total mental transformation. The archaeology of success never ends, but your personal revolution starts right now.